Ladies and gentlemen, now today we are arriving at the peak Stealth Suit Spider-Man gameplay video. So I got a little bit carried away in Labyrinth of Legends, a little bit too carried away, and I went in very, very deep, all the way up to Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut. And as you may or may not know, Juggernaut's actually one of the hardest, arguably the hardest boss in Labyrinth of Legends, kind of depending on your setup, just because his Unstoppable doesn't get removed unless you can heavy attack him, and you only have a certain amount of parries in Labyrinth of Legends before Limber, and also Juggernaut has about 3.4 million hit points, so there are a lot of factors that make him a really, really annoying boss. And I remember my first run, I think it took me about like an Odin's worth of revives to get through Juggernaut. It was a really, really brutal time, and Juggernaut is just one of those bosses that can be so horrible if he catches you off guard. And the Labyrinth Unstoppable Colossus isn't as bad as Juggernaut, but he's still one of the worst champions and bosses to deal with when it comes to the initial clear for a lot of players. So both of the fights, man, are really, really annoying to deal with. However, with Stealth Suit Spider-Man, we have the ability with the web foam mechanic to completely remove the Unstoppable from both of the fights. Here, because it was my first time kind of fighting either opponent, I saved up and didn't go for the Fury at the start, just went straight for the Special 2 in order to apply the longer foam so we could get the crit buff and just have, you know, plenty of time on the slow there. But that is a little bit overkill in terms of Unstoppable control. But up to Unstoppable Colossus, I'd one-shot every single boss, so I wanted to play it a little bit safer at the start and go for Unstoppable control, just over, you know, immediate damage out of the gate, and I think it worked out quite well, just to kind of get us into this fight and put us in a fairly comfortable position. But yeah, I don't think I've ever come close to one-shotting Unstoppable Colossus before, so to come in today, man, and one-shot this lad, I was absolutely over the moon, and it does get a little bit intense toward the end of this kill for sure. But also, both of the kills today are going to be a little bit slower and a little bit lower damage output than you would usually get from Stealth Suit Spider-Man, just because whenever you use the slow and kind of load up that web cartridge, you remove the crit damage one, and the crit damage one does a lot for especially a maxed out version of Spider-Man. But also in both of the videos, we're not using any attack bonuses. I think in the Juggernaut one, I had a health boost expiring, so I used like a 20% health boost there, but in this one, we do not have any boost active at all. So if you're looking to do like an initial run of Labyrinth with Stealth Suit Spider-Man, you'll probably have like the 30% boost active as well, so you can have probably a much quicker and much more efficient kill than the one today. But yeah, as you can see with Unstoppable Colossus, man, once you remove the Unstoppable from the equation, he really just is a very, very easy version of Colossus to fight. That is pretty much it, and it just feels great. So we're going in for another Special 2, mainly for the damage there and also to refresh the web foam. But currently we're 155 hits in. He's down already by 38%, so even without, you know, the crit damage from the vulnerability debuff, the damage output is still pretty decent when it comes to Spider-Man, decent enough to kill kind of an external Labyrinth boss without running into big problems with the enrage timer. However, there is something a little bit weird that does happen after the first enrage on a Labyrinth boss that has Unstoppable, and you guys are going to see that toward the end of the fight, and also a fair bit in the Juggernaut fight and matchup as well. I'm actually having like a crazy amount of fun bringing Spider-Man's Stealth Suit into Labyrinth of Legends. He's just generally like so enjoyable to play. It doesn't really feel like much of a chore. It's just really nice and enjoyable to kind of dive into Labyrinth with a brand new champion. I feel a lot more confident playing. I think like playing around in Act 6 a fair bit and doing all these gameplay videos has definitely kind of increased my confidence and ability to play in a lot of scenarios. So yeah, I think that is you know, starting to hopefully show a little bit in the gameplay videos, but who knows, boys, I might still be a little bit rubbish, but I'm always trying to get a little bit better. And I think the only you know, good place to practice really is Labyrinth of Legends, just because it is a absolutely amazing training scenario for all sorts of skills, and because you do have these bosses like on the easy path that are like 1.5 million, and then the interior paths, you know, you got 3.4 million bosses. There are absolutely huge characters, and like even the final boss of Act 6.2, the champion, you know, he's barely got the same amount of health as a Realm of Legends boss. So Labyrinth of Legends is still one of those pieces of content that's really, really far ahead of everything else in terms of health pool level in difficulty. Playing Labyrinth of Legends, it kind of makes me want to see some like decent challenge content, kind of like bosses and encounters that have, you know, maybe 1 or 2 nodes. I quite like the maze in terms of a setup, around like 500,000 to 1 million hit points, because I feel like that's a really good challenge range for max out 5-star characters, because I think, you know, 1.5 million is a lot of hit points, maybe a little bit too much, and then 3.4 is just definitely like way too many hit points, man. So yeah, I'd love to see a really good challenge made in that region, because I think one of the biggest problems that Act 6 has is that there are so many nodes in play. Like most encounters have anywhere between like 4 to 7 nodes to deal with, and then you've got like a global node, and then you've got the champion, load of complicated abilities. But you know, you've got some really great like basic combat in Marvel Contest of Champions, and certain characters can be made a very fun challenge on just a node or 2. So yeah, that's more of the combat and gameplay that I'd like to see in the future, because Act 6.2 is just, it's a bit of a joke, mate. It is a bit of a joke, and I found it very, very funny that for Legends in Act 6.2, somebody got it with like 10 days. 10 days for a Legends run, man. That was one of the top 100 fastest times, is 10 days. So yeah, pretty much, you know, confirms the point that nobody has really bothered to do Act 6.2 100%, apart from a few people in the top alliances and that make YouTube videos. So yeah, there's something about Labyrinth, man. I don't know. I don't know if it's just Stealth Suit Spider-Man, but I am actually quite enjoying it at the moment. So yeah, call me a little bit crazy, man, because I never thought in 2017 I would have fun fighting Unstoppable Colossus and also Juggernaut in the Labyrinth of Legends, because I used to hate both of these bosses with such a passion. And in all fairness, man, if I didn't have Stealth Suit Spider-Man, I would probably still hate them. But also another option potentially for both of these bosses is a maxed out version of She-Hulk. I found an Unstoppable Colossus solo with She-Hulk on YouTube, but I still haven't found a She-Hulk solo of Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut. So I imagine somebody, KT1, if he's watching, you know, get around to that at some point, mate. I'm really, really curious to see how she would perform against Juggernaut. I imagine she would do really, really well. But yeah, a little bit curious to see how that one works out. So yeah, there we go. Labyrinth Unstoppable Colossus down, and now we've got Juggernaut. So I only have the last half of Juggernaut, because the first half just completely corrupted, but we got 48% down, I think, in about 400 hits there. So he starts on Unstoppable, and the only way to remove the Unstoppable permanent buff is to heavy attack there. So we go for a parry and a heavy, then I just go for a standard combo, go for an intercept, and we apply the slow, because again, I really don't want him to get the permanent Unstoppable. Now, even though he has the permanent Unstoppable, as long as he has the slow debuff, and this is something I realized on the first try, as long as he has the slow debuff, then it doesn't matter. So you're absolutely golden to keep on nuking into him, like he's not going to have the actual effect of Unstoppable unless the slow debuff runs out, in which case he's going to gain it back. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. As long as you got the slow debuff, you are all good to go. Now this is just, it's great. It's going really, really well once we're into this fight. We have 2 web cartridges left as well. We dodge out the special one, and it just makes Juggernaut tremendously easy to fight. Also going for those cheeky little backdrafts as well. One of the things I absolutely love about Labyrinth of Legends is often how consistently aggressive the opponent is, so it just makes it very easy to kind of backdraft, intercept, and really get additional opportunities to, you know, hammer in the combo. Also, if you're going to bait out heavy attacks for additional openings, a really good time to do it is before the very first enrage timer. Here I've still got 1 web cartridge left, so I'm going to quickly refresh that, try and bait out a special 2, then I'm going to activate the special 3 to get all of the web cartridges back, so we can, you know, apply additional slows to Juggernaut and just keep him under control. But really, the challenge with this matchup is just getting off the first special 2 and kind of timing it well, so that you don't have to, aside from the very first Unstoppable, use any heavy attacks to remove the Unstoppable from the opponent, because that's when this fight starts to get really, really annoying. And if you want to see just how bad of a fight Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut can be, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there to show you how much of a bad time it is for champions like Star-Lord. I don't know if Blade's actually any good for Labyrinth Juggernaut. I'd imagine he'd be slightly okay for it. Might be able to negate some Unstoppables here and there, but I really do think Stealth Suit Spider-Man and She-Hulk seem like the obvious options. I don't know 100% if She-Hulk works, but I imagine if Stealth Suit Spidey does with his slow, then She-Hulk is almost guaranteed to work, I would assume. So for a while there, just because we weren't evading as much as we should have been, we had the crit buff fall off for a while. well, but we just managed to refresh it within the special 1, so that's a really, really good time. So now the plan is to build up to the special 3. I think kind of looking at this back, it would have been much better if I played a little bit closer to dodging stuff like his special 2, because the Stealth Suit Spider-Man, whenever you do go to dexterity, it's going to pause your buffs for 2.5 seconds. But I think I was just focused on, you know, making the slightly safer play, going back, making sure we have plenty of room, just in order to try and get the one-shot takedown, man, because I had some horrible problems recording this with the first half of it corrupted, man. I was very, very salty after that, because again, I had a really, really good try, but it's an absolutely amazing feeling to take down Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut just using 1 revive. So satisfying, just because there is a live stream somewhere on YouTube of me just dying to Juggernaut for like half an hour, 40 minutes, and just not really getting the fight. Like, it's a really, really tricky one, and this is making it look far too easy, man. It's making it look far too easy, but Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut has been the burden of existence for many people, man. He is not a straightforward boss to fight if you don't have a way to remove the Unstoppable by slowing him. So yeah, I'm just really, really pleased with the result of Spider-Man's Stealth Suit, and it's really good to see that he kind of has this massive reach to take down really, really stacked versions of champions that have Unstoppable mechanics. So yeah, it's just good to see that he can sustain, kind of really laying that damage, while also completely negating like a really big pain point of the entire fight as well. So I love Stealth Suit Spider-Man. I've probably said that far too many times, but he is just, you know, growing on me, but quickly becoming one of my favorite champions. And I think there are a lot more matchups and scenarios where this character is going to be insanely valuable for the future. So yeah, I'm not really too sure about Stealth Spidey's ranking. Like, there's a part of me that wants to put him in beyond God tier, but also I think he is probably more of a solid God tier champion for the moment. So I think when it does come to the tier list, man, I'm going to put him in a God tier, and then we'll wait and see how this champion performs kind of over the next few months, just to see what he's doing in Alliance Quest, Alliance War, and also what he's doing against kind of future content and champions that come out. Because yeah, I really like Stealth Suit Spider-Man, but there might be a bit of an argument for a Beyond God tier promotion at some point in the future. But now we are about to go into that glorious Assassin's range, 299 hits, and there I failed at evading. I lost all 3 of my evade charges in a single foul swoop there, and also my web cartridge is completely out, so I have to play very, very aggressively here in order to get it back. I must have failed like really, really badly in terms of, I think I went for another special one where I shouldn't have there and didn't really manage my web cartridges too well, so a little bit inefficient, but we quickly build up to a special 3, so that's going to reload all of our web cartridges, and then we just need to bait out a special attack and go in for a combo, get a light ender, and reapply the slow again. So that's a really, really nice time there. The damage is looking awesome as well. So on the light attacks, I think we are getting around 6,000, and also between the medium, split across 2 hits, I think we're seeing just over 9,000 there. So you can see, like, between every combo, man, the damage really does add up, even though we are missing the increased critical damage from the vulnerability debuff. But yeah, just absolutely laying into this lad, 12% here, and he's about to hit like the first enrage timer, because Labyrinth of Legends bosses, they have an enrage, I think it's after like 5 and a bit minutes, and then again after like 12 minutes, so you've got like 17 minutes to get them down total. But the enrage increases ability accuracy, so he's going to start triggering Unstoppable, like what happened toward the end of Unstoppable Colossus if you're paying very close attention. But the Unstoppable that he triggers doesn't have any effect, so this is a little bit of a weird one, man. I'm not really too sure exactly what's happening here, because I know the champion does a very similar thing if you leave an ability accuracy node up, and you'll see here as well, so he's got his enrage timer. The first initial enrage, that one didn't trigger the usual Unstoppable, but the next one will. I'm playing like super safe here, just to make sure I've got, you know, enough web cartridges to slow and sustain, so I'm just kind of, you know, waiting out that duration a little bit more as well, you know, getting max value from that one. I think we go for the refresh there. Probably should have baited out the special attack before going for the refresh, but hey ho, let's go back in. So he's got the Unstoppable there, but because we have the slow active, he cannot gain the effect of Unstoppable. So again, a little bit of a weird one that happens once the opponent enrages, because it does increase their ability accuracy, but it doesn't look like, you know, they gain the full effect from it. So yeah, just a little bit of an interesting one. But there we go, Labyrinth of Legends Juggernaut on 3%. 1%, we go for a special 1 of A, triggers Unstoppable again, but it's not a real Unstoppable, it's just a fake one that's dampened by the slow. We are mashing this man down to 1% now. We go for a 5 combo, fire off a special 1, and we penetrate that lad. If you did enjoy today's gameplay, please do smash that like button. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.